The heat was unbearable, sweat soaking through my clothes. David fanned me with a book, asking, "Feeling better?" My face was flushed red from the heat, and his steady breeze cooled me down. I nodded vigorously. Yeah. He's definitely the devoted second lead. So sweet. So attentive. I mean, we're practically bros now. Honestly, I feel like I just hit the jackpot. But worried he'd get tired, I tugged at his arm and urged us along. Back to the dorm. It'll be cool. David glanced at my profile, then smiled faintly. After afternoon classes, we stopped by to pick up a package. Back in the dorm, he couldn't wait. I tore open the box. Another pair of underwear gone. Good thing it wasn't expensive. David walked beside me, eyes down. "What did you get?" His gaze drifted to the box in my hand. His sharp cat eyes narrowed slightly, but his voice stayed soft. He was my closest friend at school, the quiet, devoted second lead of this little world. Tall and striking, with that intense presence that made you feel small, though underneath. Just a guy who'd never quite gotten what he wanted. And now he'd lost to the jerk of a main character. "Underwear," I said, settling onto the bed. "Cotton. You want one?" Then I added casually, "Big size." I'd been losing underwear lately, probably just the wind blowing them off somewhere. A few days ago, a dorm supervisor posted in the group chat about someone's undies getting blown off the balcony. So I bought 10 at once and got 2 free. David stepped closer, bent down, and took one from my hand. He glanced at the size tag, then shook his head seriously. "Too small for you, keep it." "Hey," I asked, "David, have you been losing underwear lately?" His dark eyes locked onto mine. His lips moved once. "Number." I frowned. "Guess I'm really unlucky." I muttered it once and let it go. What else could I do? I'd always been a scatterbrain, never bothered to track down lost stuff. So if I dropped another pair, well, it wasn't like some creep was stealing them off me. Besides, I'm a guy. What kind of pervert's gonna steal my underwear? David's eyes dipped down. One hand settled on the back of my chair. "I'll wash them for you." "Nah, that's not right," I said. "Who lets someone else wash their underwear?" "I'm not that lazy." David sounded hurt. "You think I'm beneath you?" I let out a soft scoff. "No, what are you even saying? Who does that goes out of their way to baby me like this?" David smiled faintly, his frown easing as he took the little pants from my hand and headed for the balcony. "Exactly. I'm going out of my way to take care of you. Hand them over. I'll get him spotless, promise." I followed along, watching him at the sink on the balcony, scrubbing away. To be honest, I felt a little awkward. I'm not that lazy, am I? You're not lazy," he said. "It's just, I want to." I didn't see the faint flush creeping up his ears. I reached out and rested my hand on his shoulder. "Bro, you're a real stand-up guy. What even is this? Such an awesome secondary guy. How the hell did he lose to that reckless lead character? I just don't get it." David just gave a quiet smile. The other 2 roommates came back and found a row of underwear hanging on the balcony clothesline. They laughed and asked if I'd restocked. To be honest, I thought it was kind of funny too. Luckily, David only had to wash half of them. We all got along pretty well as a group. Except for David, he came off a bit distant and aloof, so the others didn't dare joke around with him much. Still, the overall vibe was solid. We'd all planned to hit up a barbecue this weekend, but David had a party and asked me to tag along. When we got there, I realized it was William's birthday. These 2 came from similar backgrounds. Both were scions of old money families, part of the same social circle, and had been close friends until things fell apart over the girl. Brothers turned enemies. Sounds like a total soap opera. But really David was just a setup, there to make the guy jealous. I feel for him. William's birthday bash was pretty fancy. Lots of guys and girls, most of whom I didn't recognize. Still, just sticking by David's side meant getting all kinds of curious glances. Once the party kicked in, people were drinking, playing cards, so we found a spot to sit. David leaned back, his hand resting behind me, and murmured, "You go ahead and play, I'll just drink." I grinned. "Now that's loyalty." David gave a quiet chuckle, his usually sharp, confident face softening with something almost shy. I got momentarily lost in it. Honestly, that guy's looks were so intense sometimes they'd make me blink. After a bit, David got called away by someone his age. The guy glanced at me, said something brief, and David just nodded, expression unreadable. "Be back in a minute," he said. "Don't wander off." I shrugged. "Go on then, you've got stuff to do. I'm not a kid, you know. Don't need babysitting." David pursed his lips and smiled, then froze the moment he stood up. As soon as he left, people swarmed over to me, eager to know what I was to David. What kind of relationship? We're just brothers in arms. I couldn't handle all the sudden attention, so I stood up and stepped outside for some air. Felt like a bunch of rich kids just playing at being grown-ups. The villa was huge. Outside, there was a little courtyard. I hadn't seen William all night, but I ran into Harper. She'd stepped out too. We were in the same class, but I was just background noise in her story, never part of the plot. Seeing her wasn't a surprise. She's one of them, after all, and as the lead girl, she'd naturally be here wherever William was. Totally normal. She didn't look surprised to see me, just winked and said, "I heard they were saying David brought a guy along. No guessing needed. It's gotta be you, Lucas." Of course she knew him, he was part of the same circle. I laughed it off. Weekends for fun. Just hanging out with him. I knew why she was here, so I didn't ask. We stood there a moment, chatted idly, then I noticed her eyes drift toward the greenhouse. Puh, look at that. A guy in a button-down and dress pants was on the phone over there. I glanced at Harper. Her eyes were bright, soft, like she'd just spotted someone important. I awkwardly rubbed my nose, already plotting how to sneak off and find David. Then she pulled her gaze away. "Gotta go talk to someone. Catch you later, Lucas." I nodded fast. "Hey, if you need anything, I'm here." She had a crush on William, wild, reckless guy. Honestly, I wasn't entirely comfortable with that. Her eyes crinkled into a smile. Got it. And then she was off, rushing straight toward William, who had seen her talking to me. His expression flickered, just slightly. He stared at me for a few seconds, jaw tight, eyes sharp. I rolled my eyes inside my head and gave a quiet teat. Whatever this act of emotional mystery was, it was full of crap. Men pretending to be deep when they're just jerks in suits. After venting, I turned around and nearly jumped out of my skin at the figure standing just a few feet away. David had been there who knows how long, his gaze dark and sharp, locked on me. My stomach dropped. I glanced sideways instinctively. Harper was already beside William. Her eyes crinkled with a shy, sure kind of smile as she talked to the guy she liked. Honestly, based on my lifetime of binge reading melodramas, birthday parties always come with drama. Now this, David's repressed feelings might finally be about to blow. We'd been roommates for a year. Sure, David looked cool and distant, but he was actually easygoing and down to earth. But now his sharp, icy eyes were fixed on us, face unreadable as stone. I've never seen David look this bad before. Still, I couldn't help muttering under my breath. Main guy, main girl, second male, three-way tension zone. Classic drama. God, it's intense. We were a bit too far to hear what he said. Just saw his lips move, clearly pissed off. Then again, the girl he likes was laughing with another guy. Any man'd crack under that kind of pressure. I get it, hell, I'm his brother. If I didn't, I still feel it. Then David stormed over, close enough that I finally caught the word he was calling. Lucas. I hadn't even opened my mouth when he grabbed my wrist and yanked me away. Once we were in the car, I stole a few glances at him. You're not doing great, huh? David lifted his eyes slightly, The interior light was off, but city lights outside flickered through the window. The shadows played across his face, making his gaze sharper, almost dangerous. "Yeah," he said, voice flat, but there was a hint of hurt beneath it. I didn't expect him to admit it so easily. He was really hit hard this time. I gave his shoulder a gentle squeeze in understanding. He didn't speak again, just stared out the window, fists clenched tight. Replaying that scene in his head, his jaw tightened. He really hated seeing people close to him with someone else. Too much peace. Too much ease. He couldn't stand it. Only when we arrived did I realize we weren't going back to campus. David lowered his gaze. "Can I stay at my place tonight?" It was late, what could I say? Besides, I'd been here before. He smelled like alcohol. He'd held back a lot of drinks for me tonight. Seeing how down he still was, I nodded. "Sure." I headed to the shower first. David handed me a clean pair of sweatpants. "Lucas, this okay?" "Fresh out the laundry." "Yeah, no problem." Stepping out, I was all in David's clothes. His t-shirt hung loose on me, way too big. Coming out of the bathroom, I caught him standing at the balcony glass door, his silhouette sharp against the flickering glow from outside. Tall and straight, smoke curling softly from his cigarette. He was smoking. I froze. I'd never seen David like this. Felt weirdly unfamiliar. He turned at the sound, eyes dark and unreadable, voice rough as he called out, "Lucas." Oh man, this is what it's like to see the main couple chatting together. No wonder he's already falling apart. Just wait till they're actually together. He'll be a mess. I walked over, my expression soft with sympathy. "You really feel this bad?" He crushed the cigarette under his heel as I got close. After a pause, he gave a quiet, I adjusted my pants, sagging at the waist, and said seriously, "You know, I get it, you're into someone." David shot me a sharp look, his throat tightening. "Lucas, that reaction, dead giveaway. And I know exactly who it is." His eyes widened, his sharp gaze suddenly wide with shock. "Wait, you know? When the hell did you figure it out?" I nodded firmly. "From the very beginning. I also know you're hurting right now. But hey, no offense, man, but just pining away and doing everything in silence. That's not how this works." David froze. Something off in the way he looked at me. His gaze flickered, then met mine straight on, then a shadow passed through his eyes. "So, what do I do?" I slapped my hand down on his shoulder. Dead serious. "Dude, let's be real. Why does the new guy always win? Because he goes for it. Hard. If you like someone, go get him." A flicker passed through him. He went all dramatic, voice low and wounded. "You really think I should just go for it?" But he's not exactly ordinary. This isn't something most people would accept. I gave him a sharp look. "David, love doesn't care about acceptable or not. It's not like you're sneaking in on someone else's relationship." David bit his lip. "Even if it meant being the other man, I still do it. Honestly, I'm impressed. I surrender. Well then," I cracked my knuckles. "If you're ready for this kind of fire, things just got a lot easier. Go after him, no holding back. I'll help you figure it out." Suddenly, David yanked me into his arms. His eyes dark, mouth lifting in a quiet smile. "You really mean that?" "Lucas, thanks." I flinched against him, letting out a small yelp. "Damn, you're crushing me." I managed to wheeze. "Seriously, what kind of friends do we even have?" After that talk, David's mood visibly lifted. Finally, I could breathe easy. There was this warm little rush of pride, like I'd really helped a friend out. Later, after his shower, he knocked on my door. I was already in bed, so I just called out, "Come in, door's not locked." The next second, the tall guy was already stepping inside. "Lucas, can I sleep with you?" The bed was huge. "What's the problem?" I tossed back the covers and said, "Come on, inches." David wore a silky nightshirt that clung to him like a second skin, showing off every inch of his frame. I let out a tiny sigh, kinda jealous. Once he settled in, he turned toward me and started worrying. How do I go about chasing him? What if I scare him off? David exhaled heavily. What if he finds out how I feel and just runs? What if he stops being my friend? Could I lock him up? Would that be too much? Lock him up? Definitely misheard. I frowned. You're into him, right? Then why even want to stay just friends? You can't really like someone and still keep it platonic, unless you don't actually like them that much. Light bulb moment. His eyes lit up. Lucas, you're totally right. I smirked, a little proud. But still, take it slow when chasing someone. Then I thought about the guy he was up against and added, if you gotta go all out on the competition. Just don't hurt the one you like. Got it. David nodded seriously. Lucas, you're such a pro at this. You've got someone, haven't you? He asked it like he wasn't even thinking. Well, I know this stuff because I've read way too many soap operas. Guess I'm getting what I deserve. Ended up inside one of them. Well, not exactly, you see. Third-party observer. Right, that's how you stay sane. David didn't push further. Good night, Lucas. He turned off the light and settled inches. I mumbled a reply and let my eyes close. I was out before the last word hit. Just as I was drifting off, something brushed against my lips. Soft. Sudden. I made a small noise, instinctively pressing back with my tongue, but then felt a fleeting touch that vanished almost instantly. My brows twitched in annoyance. Then it was gone. Peaceful darkness took over. Next morning, I woke up feeling refreshed, had breakfast, then flopped back onto the couch to game. David suggested, it's Sunday today. Should we head back tonight? Or drive home tomorrow morning? Sounds good. Sure thing, I said, not caring either way, my foot bouncing absently on the bent knee of my other leg as I lay back. David was swamped, so he fired up his laptop and got to work beside me. I glanced over. Man, David really kept himself together, driven, clean living. Way better than that fake Playboy William who was always flirting with other girls. Still, I couldn't help thinking he was the better guy. David shot me a glance now and then. Lucas, bored? Wanna watch a movie? Yeah, sure, I said, already clicking into the food app with sudden excitement. I'll order some fried chicken bites, eat while we watch. David grinned. Perfect. I'll send you a list of titles, you pick one. Deal, I said. About 30 or 40 minutes later, the food arrived. David stood up. I'll grab it. I sat up too, scanning the room, and my eyes landed on the computer across the way. My pupils snapped wide. David had clearly left his laptop on. After grabbing the takeout, he headed straight for the screening room. Lucas, I'm gonna boot up the system first. I snapped out of my daze at the sound of his voice. Oh yeah, I'm coming right over. The dim screen flickered back to life with a quick mouse click. While David was busy in the screening room, I pulled out my phone and snapped a picture of what was on his screen. Then I pretended to relax and started scrolling through it like nothing was wrong. What do I do? I'm totally obsessed with my husband. I want to hide him away, just for me. No one else gets a look. David's legs are so long and pale. His waist is tiny, God. I love him so much. I just want to keep him all to myself. No one else gets a look. I'm scared he'll run away if he finds out how crazy I am. I hate it when other people show up around my husband. Why can't it just be me? He could never really like me. I'm so broken inside. Recent post. My husband is just too adorable. I want to move in together. I froze. My face turned white. Oh no, I might have just invited a psycho to stalk the heroine. I told him to go for it. Be bold. How did this suddenly jump from chasing to cohabiting? No, this is illegal detention. And judging by these posts, this had been going on for ages, which meant David wasn't just some hidden creep, he was a frustrated one. Why chase anyone when he could just write this kind of twisted garbage instead? My scalp prickled. I pushed myself forward. barely paying attention as I shuffled into the screening room. All I could think about were those seriously messed up messages David had typed. He leaned in, frowning. "You okay? You look spaced out." "Nothing. Just nothing." My mind was a mess, staring at David's face. How the hell could someone so damn handsome be some kind of obsessed freak? Wasn't he supposed to be the devoted second lead? What the hell happened to turn him into this creepy guy? I'm completely wrecked. Who in their right mind would even help him scheme to win Harper now? I'm holding back from calling the cops just out of loyalty to my friend. Even now, I just can't bring myself to believe David's capable of something like this. Maybe it wasn't even him who sent it. Yeah, that's gotta be it. I didn't catch a single thing from the movie. All I did was stare at David when he got close, stupidly, like an idiot, fixed on that face, perfect in every way. My brain just kept looping. How does someone this hot end up being such a freak? I felt my chest tighten. I reached out and pulled him into a hug. David. He froze just for a second, like he wasn't sure what to do. David. Yeah. I just wanted to say his name. Wanted to scream it. Even if he doesn't win the girl's heart. Don't go dark. Don't fall apart. Most of all, don't do anything illegal. We got back later that night and brought back barbecue for our 2 roommates. One of them, someone I'm close with, suddenly wrapped me in a hug. "Love you, Lucas." David scowled and yanked the guy off me. I was tugged by my collar, David's grip firm. He paid for it. The 2 roommates straightened up instantly and bowed. "Thanks, David." I laughed it off, but inside I was worried. Glanced at David again, heart sinking, behind that icy calm. A mind twisted in ways that made me sad. David didn't say a word, he just pulled me back to our table. He's quiet in the dorm, barely talks unless it's with me. No wonder he's like this. All that pent-up rage, no moves, never taking initiative. It's been a week since that birthday, and guess what? My underwear's gone missing again. Still no sign of any progress from him. But honestly, I'm kind of glad he just keeps bottling it all up instead of doing something actually messed up. Of course, that's exactly when things go sideways. The weather was already grim when we got to class. Clouds hanging low. Rain drizzling down like it had no intention of stopping. And of course, I forgot my umbrella this morning. So after class, there I was standing under the building's awning with Harper. Same as me, caught without a thing to shield us from the downpour. We both just kind of waited there, probably hoping the rain would give up. She was soft-spoken and effortlessly pretty. "Isn't David coming to get you?" "Huh." I blinked, stunned. I didn't even text him. Harper gave me a sideways glance, something just slightly off in her tone. "You two seem really close." Honestly, I don't know David that well myself, but we've met. There's something I've been meaning to ask you lately. I've heard some rumors. Lucas. Harper's words were cut off mid-sentence, and we both snapped our heads up. The drizzle had thickened into a steady downpour, and there he was, David at the bottom of the steps, umbrella raised, tall and broad-shouldered, his face lifting like something out of a romance film. David. My eyes lit up, expected, maybe, but still always a shock of delight. Harper's sentence died in her throat. David stepped forward, gave Harper a curt nod, just enough to acknowledge her. They didn't know each other well. He'd helped her once when she was in a bind, though he barely remembered it himself. That was about the only thing tying them together. Seeing me suddenly tense up, David's expression flickered, just slightly. He probably guessed what was coming. I didn't wait. "David, give your umbrella to Harper. Let her go home first." God help me, I was practically setting them up, and all I wanted was for that obsessive weirdo to stay as far away from Harper as possible. William might be a mess, but at least he's human. David hesitated. "I'll take you home instead." That was directed at Harper. "No," I said too quickly, drawing stares from the other students waiting out the rain. My voice cracked a little as I turned to David. "I'll just text Michael, he can pick us up." Michael was another roommate I got along with pretty well, But he always said he didn't dare cross paths with David. Claimed David's stare could cut you to the bone. Still, it was all banter. We were the only ones in the dorm not on the same course. So everyone treated me like family. Harper and David both looked at me. She waved her hands fast. No, go ahead and head back yourselves. Then, after I'd spoken, David finally handed the umbrella to Harper. Here, one word, sharp like an order. I took it without hesitation. I'd seen the threat in his eyes. When she had it, David's voice softened. You go on ahead. Harper wasn't convinced he was faking kindness. Thanks, I'll send a courier to bring it back later. I exhaled quietly. Nah, just bring it to class tomorrow. Honestly, I felt a little bad about it. Was I really shutting down David's chances because he was intense? He wasn't actually psycho, just weirdly possessive. Fine, he'd once suggested locking someone in a room. Right, Harper said, stepping forward. See you tomorrow. I relaxed and waved. Bye. She descended the steps, vanished into the rain, then, couldn't resist, turned back for one look. Down at the ground floor entrance, two figures stood close, a tall and a short boy. They looked good together, almost too perfect. Harper pulled her gaze away, unease creeping inches. She'd heard the rumor before, hadn't believed it at first. David, like a guy? Now she wasn't so sure. As soon as Harper left, David tilted his head toward me. Lucas, you didn't seem too thrilled about me driving Harper home. I played dumb. Me? I was just worried it'd be a hassle for you. I bit my lower lip. David held my gaze for 2 silent seconds, then asked, dead serious, Lucas, you really want the person I like to like me back, don't you? His sharp eyes locked onto mine. For some reason, my chest tightened, but I answered without thinking. Of course. You're awesome. His expression softened instantly. Only you think I'm good. Once you see the other side of me, you won't feel that way anymore. I gave a small, wry smile. Don't flatter yourself. Inside, I was screaming. Dude, I've already seen exactly what you are. A twisted, sick freak. David caught my awkward but polite smile, looked away, and his lips curled up slightly. We didn't wait for a roommate to bring the umbrella. Not long after, a car pulled up on the curb across the street. David grabbed my wrist and yanked me toward it. We got inches. He handed me a dry towel. Stay over tonight. I thought about it for a second, then nodded. Honestly, his place was way more comfortable than the dorm. And since I'm basically a hedonist, why not? It wasn't like it was my first time staying over. Back at his apartment, David's aunt had already arrived. Dinner was ready, the fruit tray neatly arranged. She smiled and said what snacks were available before heading out. I mumbled my thanks, completely forgetting he was a control freak for a moment. My eyes stung. David, I'm sticking with you for life. For life? David paused just briefly, then said, sure. He never cracks a joke like that. But the way he said it was kind of cute. Of course, all of it's fake. I don't know how to fix him, but honestly, he hasn't done anything extreme yet. So maybe I'm overthinking this. After dinner, it wasn't even dark yet. I wandered the living room a few times to work off the meal, grabbed the clothes David had laid out for me, and headed toward the shower. But the heater in the living room was acting up. David told me to just use his bedroom bathroom instead. No problem, I've been in his room before. Obviously. The thing is, why the hell was my underwear sitting there in his bathroom? There's no doubt it's mine. I bought it less than 2 weeks ago, wore it a couple times, and I remember it clearly. It went missing a few days back. Now it's just lying there on the shelf, quiet as can be. I picked it up, front left corner's practically worn through. My expression flickered a dozen times. Something between disbelief and awkwardness. Can't be what I'm thinking. Maybe it's just the same style as mine by coincidence. But that's not even David's size. I lingered in there for almost an hour, 50 minutes of silently accusing David of being some kind of freak. But I forced myself to calm down, trusting my brother, And the guy with a heart as pure as his soul, I held it together. David knocked again. "Lucas, you okay?" I opened the door. "Yeah, just took a long soak." Which was a lie, I hadn't even touched the tub. David glanced past me, calm as ever. "I'm worried you might slip. Stay here tonight, your room's been cleaned by the maid. But the sheets aren't changed yet." I said it before I could stop myself. "Sure." Then I bit my tongue. Honestly, I could have changed the sheets myself. David was already guiding me toward the bed. "You sleep first, I'll take a shower." He sat me down, and I grabbed his sleeve before he could walk away. "David." He looked down at me, voice soft. "What's up?" For some reason, when I met his eyes, I froze like the answer was already on the tip of my tongue, and I couldn't bear to hear it. I swallowed hard. "Nothing. Just forgot to wipe the mirror after showering. You mind cleaning it?" David reached up and rested his hand on top of my head, his gaze descending from above, slightly domineering. He brushed a few gentle strokes across my hair. Got it." My body locked up. Once he'd disappeared into the bathroom, I sucked in a sharp breath. I flopped onto the bed and buried my face in the blankets. But all I could smell was David's cool, faint scent. Something about it made my face suddenly burn hot. I scrambled up again, flustered. Then I cursed myself what a freaking lunatic I was. When David came out, I was already tucked into bed, arms pinning the covers down tight, pretending to be fast asleep and totally proper. Hearing his footsteps, I looked over, and my eyes flew wide open. David walked in wearing just a pair of loose pants. His torso was bare, solid, and broad, muscles defined in sharp blocks, the kind that looked both powerful and smooth. He was drying his hair as he moved, and the wave of male energy rolling off him hit me like a wall. My fingers clenched hard into the sheets beneath me. Was he seriously trying to show off? Like some kind of peacock? I was shocked by my own thought, like, wow, that's absurd. David finished drying his hair and slid into bed beside me. He pulled on his pajamas. "Lights out?" "Yeah," I mumbled, then instantly felt weird about it. Clearing my throat, I added in a deeper voice, "Yeah, go ahead." David clicked off the light. The room plunged into darkness. Just his quiet laugh echoed back. I stared at the black, deadpan. "What are you laughing at?" David leaned in fast. You're adorable, Lucas." The thought hit me. Husband, you're so cute. I want to move in together. And now here I was, lying in his bedroom, on his bed, getting called adorable by him. Exactly like that. Honestly, my skin prickled. Heat flooded my face again. I grunted hard through my nose and said, "Dead serious. No way, you're the one who's cute. Do you seriously think I'm cute?" David murmured, his chin resting on my shoulder. "Enough, man." David closed his eyes and inhaled deeply against my neck. "Lucas, I gotta ask you something." I didn't answer. Didn't want to hear it. Couldn't risk it. He went on anyway. "Who was it? The person I said I liked? Shouldn't you be asking yourself that?" My eyes adjusted to the dark, and I shot him a glare. "You're asking me who you like?" David let out a small smile and suddenly said to me, "I've actually started liking someone. Really pretty." He paused for a beat, then added with a slight blush, "A really cute guy." "Oh, a guy." My eyes widened. My heart skipped a beat. I'd already relaxed when he said pretty. Anyone who's attractive is fine, whether she's the heroine or not. But then he dropped that bomb. A guy. My mind went blank for a second. A boy. David tensed up. "Are you gonna be okay with that?" Without realizing it, he leaned in even closer, so close I could feel his breath mixing with mine. Not unpleasant, but my head was spinning. I nodded and shook my head at the same time. I mean, not that I'd mind. But, wait, wasn't this creepy? Obsessive second lead supposed to be straight? This was seriously messed up. I sank into a fresh wave of panic. I should have just stayed happy with him being a creep, no harm done. He'd never go through with anything. But now he's into guys. That's not even safe for future generations. What kind of nightmare is this? And worse, he might be talking about me. Lucas, David asked, voice tight, are you turning away from me now? My lashes fluttered as I locked eyes with him, close enough that the night blurred our edges. His words came out soft, almost hushed. David, I said, pulling back slightly, you've got it wrong. You can't possibly be into guys. He's the brooding second lead. David didn't let go, he was more forceful than ever. Why would you think I'm into Harper? Lucas, how can you be so sure I wouldn't want you? He'd known all along that the person I meant was Harper. He just hadn't said her name out loud. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. For no reason at all. David couldn't hold back anymore. He leaned in and brushed his lips against mine, then whispered, Lucas, I'm sorry that I really like you. He wasn't holding back any longer. Part of me still thought, who the hell does that? Definitely a pro-level psycho. And now he's even mastered the art of forced affection. David pouted softly, muttering under his breath, didn't you say yourself, love should be said out loud and fought for? I nearly laughed at him. Was that even what I meant? And who the hell told you to call me babe? David pinched my cheek. You said it yourself, quietly giving up gets you nothing. I really like you. I want to lock you away, just for me. Is that okay? I'm losing it. I can't hold back anymore. I bit down hard on his shoulder. Don't push it too far. He froze for a second, then pulled me tighter. In the end, he just held me close, not daring to go further, like he was afraid I'd run. Calm down. We're lying in bed. The room's so quiet you can hear our heartbeats. I'm spinning out, completely unraveling inside. What pissed me off the most was seeing David smirk. Just one glance and I lost all my steam. I bite my lip, then snap. Are you seriously messed up? Yeah, David says, stretching his arm out, pulling me close again before rolling over me. Sorry, I'm just not normal. My head's killing me. We're both guys, yet he moves toward me like it's second nature, like we've always been meant to be this close. And I'm not even mad about it. We don't exactly know each other inside out, but we've always stuck together like glue. So when he does something like this, I can't bring myself to stay angry. The underwear in the bathroom. I glare at him. David lifts a hand, covers my eyes, then presses his lips right beside mine. His voice vibrates against my skin. I just couldn't help myself. I wanted to be close to you so bad. Sorry. I shove him away. That wasn't taking, it was stealing. Yeah. He answers every single thing I say with a soft yeah, then leans in guiltily. Sorry. Making a mess. Getting caught. And still apologizing like it's nothing. I should have run away then. In reality, the next day back at school, I decided to cut ties with David for good. But here's the thing, I broke up with him. He kept being sweet, though. Breakfast still waiting in the morning. Lunchtime call saying he'd meet me at the cafeteria. Dinner delivered from his place every day so we could eat together in our dorm. Rain pours down, he's already there waiting outside my lecture hall before I even need to text him. If the sun's blazing, he worries I'll fry in it. When classes are light, he brings cat treats and we go feed the school's little strays together. The more I think about it, the more obvious it gets. David's been acting way too close for comfort. He'd been quietly doing little things for me all along. Tiny stuff no one would notice, but he did them anyway. And now, I'm annoyed, but also weirdly happy about it. It's freaking me out. Harper hands back my umbrella, hesitates, then blurts, I heard a guy who doesn't like David say he thinks he's into guys. Me. Thanks for telling me. Honestly, I already knew. Not just knew, realized David had actually been dropping hints on purpose. Everything pointed to one thing. David was a full-on obsessive. And yet, knowing he likes me made my standards drop even lower. Suddenly, it didn't seem so bad after all. Oh no. This is a disaster. Harper didn't seem fazed at all. And in an instant, she got it. It's been getting around a bit. People are saying David's got his eye on the young guy who's always hanging around him. A lot of folks have been asking about you, but David's kept them quiet. I'm just letting you know because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I gave her a small smile. Yeah, no worries. I've got it. Still couldn't help but think how genuinely good Harper was. She also added, if you really like someone, go for it. Make your move. If they don't respond, cut your losses early. Most guys treat love like a nice little extra, so I hope you're not one of them. I mean, you deserve the best. Love wasn't everything. She'd been pining after William in silence, full of self-doubt and quiet yearning throughout the story. I couldn't wrap my head around that kind of feeling, but Harper didn't need to be someone else's accessory. Harper froze for a split second after I finished speaking. I felt bad. Maybe I'd overstepped, but then I turned around and nearly jumped out of my skin at the sight of the guy standing right behind me. David was 6'3", strikingly handsome, still carrying that soft, boyish vibe from school days. His presence was clean-cut and pure, damn near flawless in every way. But his eyes darkened instantly, sharpening into something sharp and commanding. My breath caught. His looks threw me off for a second. Then I lifted my chin. Why you not saying anything? His gaze was fierce, but his expression looked heavy. I was afraid you wouldn't want to see me. I stepped toward him. If I didn't want to see you, would you really show up? Harper watched us walk away, then caught David's words. I'm not like most guys. Harper smiled, then turned and walked off. David said, love's just a word. I want to be with you because being with you makes me happy. I laughed. Wow. That's kinda cheesy. David couldn't hold back a chuckle, then gently gripped my wrist. No hand holding for him, just this tight, possessive grip, like he needed to feel in control. Lucas? Can you maybe like me? David wasn't subtle. He always asked in ways that worked best for him. He'd never ask something like, do you hate me? Right now. I flashed him a sly look. Well, physically, I don't think I'd be repulsed. He lit up for half a second, then narrowed his eyes. What about emotionally? I kept walking ahead, glancing back at him. You really like guys, huh? David still didn't get why I was so certain he liked Harper. After a pause, he said it dead serious. I love you, Lucas. I stopped. He stopped too. We locked eyes for a beat. Then I rose on my toes and brushed my lips against his cheek. Let's try it for 3 months. If it doesn't work out, we just call it quits. His expression blanked for a split second, then burst into pure shock and delight. He yanked me close, wrapping his arms around my waist like he'd never let go. Good thing the sidewalk was empty. I smirked. Feels kind of sudden. He didn't loosen his grip an inch, eyes glowing with joy. It's okay, we can take it slow. 3 months flew by, and 3 years. Feels like a blink of an eye. After graduation, I landed a job at a big tech company, while David returned home to take over his family's empire. I caught the difference as soon as I got back, before even stepping inside. Glanced at the man beside me, still holding my wrist. David had shed that boyish look, now tall and strong, sharp-faced with a quiet kind of authority. He caught me looking and raised one eyebrow. I muttered, "What's the mystery?" The moment I crossed the threshold, my breath caught, flowers everywhere. Gorgeous, vibrant bouquets lined every surface. Auntie and friends were still tidying up, but the scene was already set. I froze, eyes wide as David suddenly leaned in. Someone had just handed him a bouquet, and then he kissed me right on the lips. Husband, happy 3rd anniversary. I love you, Lucas. Baby, I love you too. It was like words couldn't even begin to cover it. Soft touch, warm voice, the quiet beat of a heart that's wholly mine. My eyes crinkled at the corners. I rose up on my toes and kissed him back.